This is a barrel of water that I use to grow live food for my fish. It holds about 30 gallons of water, and I've also added a bunch of dried leaves in order to provide a food source for all of the little creatures that live and grow in here. And this is just a small sample of some of the animals that I found by skimming the surface of the water with a brine shrimp net. Now, let's take a closer look and identify all of the living creatures that we can see. These are mosquito eggs, and these are mosquito larvae. And these little orange-colored animals are called daphnia, or water fleas, and these are their eggs. These little white creatures are baby pillbugs, which are also sometimes called roly-polies. They're terrestrial crustaceans, so somehow they fell into this barrel. Now let's clean this up a bit and take a closer look at those mosquito eggs. There are over 3,500 different species of mosquitoes, and the majority of them lay their eggs on the surface of the water. The eggs float and are glued together to form what's known as a raft, and each raft can contain up to several hundred individual eggs. I collect these mosquito eggs using a brine shrimp net to skim the surface of the water. Then I empty the contents of the net into a white plastic dish or a clear container set on a white piece of paper so that the eggs are easier to see. A magnifying glass can be very helpful when you're first learning how to identify mosquito eggs, but once you've had some practice, they're pretty easy to spot with the naked eye. But just to give you an idea of how small these mosquito eggs are, this is a toothpick. And here you can see some of the individual eggs have broken away from the raft. These eggs can be kept in water until they hatch, or the water holding the eggs can be poured through a coffee filter and allowed to dry out. Because mosquito eggs are very durable and they can withstand being dried out completely for several months at a time, which allows you to store the eggs during the summer and then use them in the winter when the adult mosquitoes are long gone. Mosquito eggs can even survive being frozen in the ice for months at a time because the embryos inside the eggs will stop growing until the ice melts and the water warms up. Which explains why mosquitoes can suddenly appear out of nowhere in the early spring. Those adult mosquitoes weren't hibernating under the snow, and they certainly didn't fly south for the winter. In fact, when the temperature drops below 50 degrees Fahrenheit or 10 degrees Celsius, their bodies begin to shut down and they eventually die. But their eggs survive the coldest winter months, and all it takes is a bit of warm water and some sunshine for their eggs to resume their development. So, if I have more mosquito larvae than I need, I'll either dry out the eggs to put their development on hold until I need them, or I'll put the larvae that have already hatched into the refrigerator to slow down their metamorphosis into flying adults. But I have a lot of fish to feed, and most fish love to eat mosquito larvae, so I usually just put the eggs in a gallon jar filled with water, and within a day or two, I'll have hundreds of tiny mosquito larvae to feed my fish. Mosquito larvae are filter feeders that eat small particles of decaying organic matter and tiny microorganisms, so you can grow them out to a larger size by feeding them. I put dried leaves in the jar so that they decompose and provide a food source for the larvae. You can also feed them with green water, as well as small amounts of live active yeast that's normally used for baking. But remember, mosquito larvae grow quickly in warm water, and they'll turn into flying adults in just a few days, so keep an eye on them and always put a cover on the jar. But don't seal up the jar so that it's airtight, because the larvae need to get air at the surface of the water, and a mesh cover held on with a rubber band seems to work best. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have a beautiful day.